Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about transport through cell membrane. So far you have learned in the last meeting the structure of cell membrane. And now we are going to talk about the materials, how materials can pass through the cell membrane. To help you to understand the transport through the plasma membrane, I'll use how people or animals or substance can get into your house. To go to your house, for example, this is the owner of this house. Because he is the owner of this house, he can enter the house through the main door because he has the key. However, when we talk about a burglar, of course, he doesn't have the main door key. That's why he has to go into the house perhaps through the chimney or break the ceiling or break the window. Now, when we talk about wind can enter the house through any parts that is open, either big like the door or small like for example a crack in the window. So wind can enter the house through many different ways because it's very small. This is also applicable for the ants because ants are also small. They can sneak through beneath the door to get into the house or sneak through the small opening in the window to enter the house. From this illustration, you can see that the method to go or to enter the house consists of many ways. It depends on who will go into the house. All right? To understand how substances move across the plasma membrane, this mind map will help you to understand the full concept. The first part of this mind map, the membrane structure, we will not talk about it anymore because we have covered it in the previous class. Now we are here, types of transport through the plasma membrane. The classification consists of two, passive transport and active transport. The difference between passive transport and active transport is, for passive transport, the substance moves from high concentration to low concentration. However, for active transport, the substance moves from low concentration to high concentration, or it moves against the concentration gradient. For the one that moves from high to low concentration, no energy required. I can use this illustration to help you to understand. Imagine this is a waterfall. Waterfall does not require energy. Well, actually, it produces some energy. Water from a high position will automatically fall down to the lower position and no energy required. However, if you talk about, let's say, there is water source here, and if you want to put into a tank, let's say in your house, to be filled with the water, okay, it means that some energy is required to take the water to the tank. For example, you can use a machine, okay, the water pump, to help the water to be moved from the lower position to higher position. All right? So active transport require energy because it moves substance from low concentration to high concentration. We will talk about active transport in the future video. For this video, we will only talk about the passive transport. Passive transport consists of three types: simple diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusions. We will see the type of passive transport one by one after this. It is important for you to know that passive transport does not only happen in living systems. It is a natural phenomenon that happens when substances are actively moving. So, as long as it is not 0 Kelvin, the absolute zero, all substances, all molecules are still moving. So you can see from this illustration, okay, someone put a drop of food coloring, okay, and because the molecules, both the molecules of the food coloring and also the molecules of water are moving, they are actually interacting, bumping with each other, exchange space, and so on. So after time, as you can see, the water molecule and the food coloring start to mingle. The same thing also happens after more time available. More and more of the substance of food coloring mix with the water, and eventually it will create a homogeneous solution. So this passive transport is called diffusion. Okay, so diffusion can happen either in living things or outside of living things. And because it is a natural phenomena, and then as long as there is a temperature or heat, the molecules are moving, that's why it does not require energy. It'll just happen. The first type of passive transport is called simple diffusion. The meaning of simple diffusion is the substance that move from high concentration to low concentration through the plasma membrane can simply sneak through the space between phospholipid bilayer. It must come from high to low concentration. Therefore, no energy is required. And the substance, they have to be something that is non-polar, because if it is a polar molecule, such as sodium ion, they will be rejected by the hydrophobic layer, this part. And for non-polar molecules, such as fat-soluble molecules, they can just simply pass through the bilayer, because remember, this in the middle, the phospholipid tails, consists of lipid, which is fat. So that's why fat-soluble molecules can easily pass through from high concentration to low concentration through the plasma membrane without energy. That is, they are doing simple diffusion. So what if the substance is very small but polar? Can it just sneak through the space between the phospholipid bilayer from high to low concentration? The answer is no. So how to help those small but polar molecules to pass through the plasma membrane? They need facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion comes from the word facility. Now, this is a picture of the future city. As you can see here, they promote that there will be monorail, bus, and so on. So basically, these are the facility available to reach to go to that new city. So facilitated diffusion means diffusions that provide facility, kind of like road, for the substance that is small but polar to pass through. And this is the passive transport facilitated diffusion. What is used by the cell as facility? You may have learned in the structure of plasma membrane, there are proteins that has channel at the center or called protein channel. They are the facility that cell provides for the substance that is small but polar to move or pass through the plasma membrane. So facilitated diffusion requires the existence of protein channel, integral protein channel. So in facilitated diffusion, the substance must be polar and the substance must move from high concentration to low concentration. Thus, no energy is required. And protein channel act as the facility or road to let the substance in and out from the cell. So far, we have talked about simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Before we go to the third type of passive transport, I need you to understand this. Maybe for a chemistry student, you have known about this. Solute, solvent, and solution. Solute is something that you put into the solvent, most likely water, so that it will be dissolved to create solution. So solute could be salt, grain, sugar, and many others. While solvent, most likely water, because it is a universal solvent. We will talk about the universal solvent in the next chapter of biochemistry. So for example, if you have salt as the solute and water as the solvent, the result will be saline water. That's your solution. Now, I hope you understand the meaning of solute, solvent, and solution. After you understand the three terminologies, solvent, solute, and solution, I need to explain further the connection between those three terminologies with the concept of concentration. As you can see from this picture, first picture, you can see that the concentration of food coloring from one glass to the next is increasing. The food coloring in this picture act as the solute. So the concentration of solute is getting higher and higher and higher. Now, just imagine if these red circles are the food coloring. For low concentration solution of food coloring, it has small number of solute. Let's say this is A. Solution A has lower concentration because it has lower concentration or lower amount of solute. Well, in the other place, B, the solute can be found in higher number. Okay, so it means that the concentration of the solution in B is higher than A. And other than that, you also can notice that the water molecule amount in A is actually higher. So the water molecule here is high. While the water molecules here in B can be found in low amount. So what can we say about this? High concentration solution, remember this is a solution, has high solute concentration, but it has low amount of solvent. And this represents B. While low concentration solution means that they have low amount of solute and high amount of solvent. And you can guess that number 2 represents A. You can see from here, high, high, low, 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 high. So, from the perspective of solvent, which is mostly water, its concentration is the opposite from the solution concentration. In daily life, when we say concentration, we always refer to solution or solute concentration. So when we talk about concentration, we never speak from the perspective of solvent. We always see the amount of solute. And that's why it is the opposite from the solvent. Again, high concentration of solution means high concentration of solute. That means that solution have low solvent. You can see from here, the water molecule here is very low in amount, while low concentration solution has low solute amount but high solvent amount, which is the water. I hope you understand this concept. Why I have to emphasize this? Because believe it or not, this creates such a confusion between students. Because in the previous concept of simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion, substances must move from high to low, right? But again, when we talk about concentration and solvent amount, that's the opposite. So when we talk about water movement through cell membrane, we see from the perspective of solvent, right? When we talk about water, water is solvent, which is the opposite from solution or solute concentration. Thus, movement of water happens from low concentration. Low concentration of solution means high amount of water. The water is high. To high solute concentration, which means the water is low. So there is nothing contrary, because as you can see, from low to high means from high water to low water. So there is no contradiction. It is just a matter of perspective. So this is the illustration of osmosis. In the first picture, you can see that the water molecules here found in high amount, which means actually the outside of the cell has low concentration. Why? Because it has lots of water, so it must be very dilute, while inside the cell has a high concentration. As the result, this water has to move inside because from high amount to low amount. However, when we talk from the perspective of concentration, which is we talk about the concentration of solute, of course, it seems like contradictive, but look at this, low, high. It should be high to low, but remember, this low talk about the concentration of solute. Okay, so it will happen, and after sometimes there is equilibrium, which means the amount of water of the two places will be equal. Now, maybe you ask like, Ibu, isn't it you say that the middle part, which is the bilayer, hates water, okay, which is hydrophobic. Then how water can get in? without the facility. The truth is, they can actually move through the plasma membrane bilayer, but very slowly due to the osmotic pressure. Remember, water has pressure. It can push to the plasma membrane. It can create such a pressure to the plasma membrane to let the water molecule to get in. But it is quite slowly. The process happens very slowly. To make it a bit faster, the cell needs, yeah, you're right, the protein channel. This protein channel will facilitate the water molecules to get in or out from the cell. This protein channel has a specific name called, now I have to erase, the aquaporin protein. All right. High-level student, you will meet with aquaporin further when you learn to learn human physiology high-level topic. All right. Regarding the osmosis, there are three terminologies that you must know: isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. What does it mean? Isotonic means the environment of a cell has the same concentration compared to the cell. So it means that the amount of water that gets out and gets in are actually equal. So the cell will remain normal and fine. However, in hypotonic, when we talk about hypotonic, if you remember hippopotamus, yeah, that animal loves to be submerged under the water surface, just the face that appears, right? So in hypotonic, it indicates lower, something lower. The environment of a cell has the lower concentration compared to the cell. So, like in this illustration, as the result of hypotonic means there are lots of water. Remember, lower concentration means high amount of water. Okay, lower concentration means high amount of water. So there are so many water molecules outside that will rush into the cell and cause the cell to burst. Remember, this is red blood cell. It doesn't have cell wall to protect it. Okay? But in plant cells, it has cell wall so that it will be protected from bursting. The last one is hypertonic. In hypertonic, hyper means so high. It means that the environment of a cell has a higher concentration compared to the cell. Higher concentration means the water amount is so low. As a result, the water from the cell will get out to make it balance, because the water outside the cell is low, while the water inside the cell is high. As a result, of course, the water from inside the cell will escape to the environment. In the case of animal cell, it will shrivel. In the plant cells, however, it also will shrivel, but the cell wall will remain. And so what you can see from the outside, you can see a wilted plant, okay? Like that. So I hope you understand the concept of isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. That's it, the lesson for today, and I would like to acknowledge the resources that I use. For the future video that we will watch together, we will talk about the active transport. I hope you learn a lot from this video. Bye.